Hello, welcome to day 104 of the Daily Bread. We'll be reading Leviticus chapter 25, 1 Kings chapter 10, Psalms 104, Proverbs 14, and from the book of John, finishing it up chapter 21. We'll be in Scriptures 2009 version. Leviticus chapter 25 on page 131. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe on Mount Zion, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, When you come into the land which I give you, then the land shall observe a Sabbath to Yahweh. 6 years you sow your field, and 6 years you prune your vineyard, and gather its fruit. But in the 7th year, the land is to have a Sabbath of rest, a Sabbath to Yahweh. Do not sow your field, do not prune your vineyard, do not reap what grows of its own of your harvest, and do not gather the grapes of your unpruned vine, for it is a year of rest for the land. And the Sabbath of the land shall be to you for food, for you and your servant, and your female servant, and your hired servant, and for the settler who sojourns with you, and for your livestock and the beasts that are in the land, and all its crops are for food. And you shall count 7 Sabbaths of years for yourself, 7 times 7 years, and that time shall be 7 Sabbaths of 7 years, shall be to you 49 years. And you shall then sound a shofar sound on the 10th of the 7th new moon on Yom Kippur, Day of Atonement. Cause a shofar to sound throughout all your land, and you shall set the 50th year apart, and proclaim release throughout all the land to all its inhabitants. It is a Yobel. Hold on. A Yobel is a Yobel. The primary meaning of the word appears to be a ram's horn. The term is also used in way for the proclamation of the 50th year of Jubilee, for the sounding of a shofar. Verse 10. And you shall set the 50th year apart, and proclaim release throughout all the land of its inhabitants. It is a Yobel for you. And each of you shall return to his possession, and each you shall return to his clan. The 50th year is a Yobel, Jubilee, to you. Do not sow, do not reap what grows of its own, nor gather from what is unpruned. It is a Yobel, it is set apart to you. Eat from the field its crops. In the year of this Jubilee, let each one of you return to his possession. And when you sell whatever to your neighbor, or buy from the hand of your neighbor, do not exploit one another. According to the number of years after the Yobel, you buy from your neighbor, and according to the number of years of crops he sells to you, according to the greater number of years to increase its price, and according to the fewer numbers of years you diminish its price, because he sells to you according to the number of years of the crops. And do not oppress one another, but you shall fear your Elohim, for I am Yahweh your Elohim. And you shall do my laws, and guard my right rulings, and shall do them. and you shall dwell in the land in safety. And the land shall yield its fruit, and you shall eat it to satisfaction, and shall dwell there in safety. And since you might say, what do we eat in the 7th year, since we do not sow, nor gather in our crops? Therefore I have commanded my blessing on you in the 6th year. And it shall bring forth the crop for 3 years. And you shall sow in the 8th year, and eat the old crop, until the 9th year. Eat of the old crop until it comes in. And the land is not to be sold beyond reclaim. And for the land is mine. For you are sojourners and settlers with me. And provide for redemption for the land, in all the land of your possession. When your brother becomes poor and has sold some of his possessions, and his redeemer, a close relative, comes to redeem it, then he shall redeem what his brother sold. And when the man has no one to redeem it, but he himself becomes able to redeem it, then let him count the years since its sale, and return the remainder to the man to whom he sold it, that he shall return to his possession. And in his hand has not found enough, and if his hand has not found enough to give back to him, then what he sold shall remain in the hand of him who bought it until the year of the Yobel, of the Jubilee, and it shall be released in the Jubilee, and he shall return to his possession. And when a man sells a house in a walled city, then his right of redemption shall be at the end of the year after it is sold. His right of redemption lasts a year. But if it is not redeemed within a completed year, then the house in the walled city shall be established beyond reclaim to the buyer of it throughout his generation. It is not released in the Jubilee. The house of villages, however, which have no wall around them, are reckoned as the field of the country. A right of redemption belongs to it, and they are released in the Jubilee. As for the cities of the Levites, and the houses in the cities of their possessions, the Levites have a right of redemption forever. And that which is redeemed from the Levites, both the sale of a house and the city of his possession, shall be released in the year of Jubilee, because the houses in the cities of Levites are their possessions in the midst of the children of Israel. But the field of the open land of their cities is not sold, for it is their everlasting possession. And when your brother becomes poor, and his hand has failed with you, then you shall strengthen him, and he shall live with you like a sojourner or a settler. Take no interest from him, or profit, but you shall fear your Elohim, and your brother shall live with you. Do not lend him your silver on interest, and do not lend him your food for profit. I am Yahweh your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Mizraim, to give you the land of Canaan, or Canaan, to be your Elohim. And when your brother who dwells by you becomes poor and sells himself to you, do not make him serve as a slave, but as a hired servant. As a settler he is with you, and serves you until the year of the Jubilee. And when he shall leave you, he and his children with him, and shall return to his own clan, even return to the possession of his fathers. So they are my servants, whom I brought out of the land of Mizraim. They are not sold as slaves. Do not rule over him with harshness, but you shall fear your Elohim. And your male and female slaves, whom you have from the nations that are around you, from them you buy male and female slaves. Also, from the sons of the strangers settling among you, from them you buy, and from their clans who are with you, which they shall bring forth in your land. And they shall be your property, and you shall take them as an inheritance for the children after you, to inherit them as a possession. They are your slaves for all time. But over your brothers, the children of Israel, do not rule with harshness over one another. Now, when a sojourner or settler with you becomes rich, and your brother with him becomes poor, and sells himself to the sojourner or settler with you, or to be a member of the sojourner's clan, after he has been sold, there is a right of redemption to him. One of his brothers does redeem him, or his uncle's son does redeem him, or anyone who chooses, or anyone who is a close relative to him and his clan does redeem him, or if he's able, then he shall redeem himself. And then he shall reckon with him who bought him. The price of his release shall be according to the number of years from the year that he was sold to him until the year of the Jubilee. As the days of a hired servant it is with him. If there are yet many years according to them, he repays the price of his redemption from the silver of his purchase. And if a few years are left until the year of Jubilee, then he shall reckon with him, and according to his years repays him the price of his redemption. He is with him as a yearly hire servant, and does not rule with harshness over him before your eyes. And if he is not redeemed in those years, then he shall be released in the year of Jubilee, he and his children with him. Because the children of Israel are servants to me. They are my servants, whom I brought out of the land of Mizraim. I am Yahweh, your Elohim. On to 1 Kings chapter 10, on page 361. And the sovereign of Sheba heard the report of Solomon concerning the name of Yahweh, and came to try him with hard questions. And she came to Jerusalem with a great company, with camels that bore spices, very much gold and precious stones. And she came to Solomon, and she spoke with him about all that was in her heart. And Solomon answered all her questions. There was no matter hidden for the sovereign that he did not make known to her. And the sovereigness of Sheba saw all the wisdom of Solomon, and the house that he had built, and the food on his table, and the sitting of his servants, and the service of his waiters, and their attire, and his cupbearers, and his ascending offerings which he offered in the house of Yahweh. And there was no more spirit in her. Then she said to the sovereign, the word I heard in my own land about your words and your wisdom was true. But I did not believe the words until I came and saw with my own eyes. And see, I have not been told that half. Your wisdom and prosperity exceed the report which I heard. Blessed are your men, and blessed are your servants who stand continually. before you who are hearing your wisdom. Blessed be Yahweh your Elohim, who delighted in you, to put you on the throne of Israel, because Yahweh has loved Israel forever. Therefore he made you sovereign, to do right ruling and righteousness. And she gave the sovereign 120 talents of gold, and very many spices and precious stones. Never again did so many spices come as the sovereigns of Sheba gave to sovereign Solomon. And also the ships of Hiram, which brought gold from Ophir, brought along wood, a great many and precious stones from Ophir. And the sovereign made steps of almug wood for the house of Yahweh, and for the sovereign's house also lyres and harps for singers. No such almug wood has come or been seen to this day. And sovereign Solomon gave the sovereignness of Sheba all that she desired, whatever she asked, besides what he gave her according to the hand of sovereign Solomon. And she turned and went to her land and to her servants. And the weight of gold that came to Solomon yearly was 666 talents of gold, besides that from men of travel, and profit from traders, and from all the sovereigns of Arabia, and from the governors of the land. And sovereign Solomon made 200 large shields of beaten gold. 600 pieces of gold went into each shield, and 300 shields of beaten gold. 3 minions of gold went into each shield, and the sovereign put them in the house of the forest of Lebanon. And the sovereign made a great throne of ivory and overlaid it with refined gold. The throne had 6 steps, and the top of the throne was round at the back, and there were armrests on either side of the place of the seat, and 2 lions stood beside the armrests. And 12 lions were standing there, one on each side of the 6 steps, the like of which has never made in any reign. And in all the drinking vessels of the sovereign Solomon were of gold, and the vessels of the house of the forest of Lebanon were of refined gold, not of silver, for this was reckoned of little value in the days of Solomon. For the sovereign had ships of Tarshish at sea with the fleet of Hiram. Once every 3 years the ships of Tarshish came bringing gold and silver, ivory, and apes and baboons. And sovereign Solomon was greater than any of the sovereigns on the earth in riches and wisdom. And all the earth sought the presence of Solomon to hear his wisdom, which Elohim had put in his heart. And they each were bringing his present, objects of silver and objects of gold, garments and armor, spices, horses, mules, the matter of year by year. And Solomon gathered chariots and horsemen, and he had 1,400 chariots and 12,000 horsemen, whom he stationed in the chariot cities with the sovereign in Jerusalem. And the sovereign made silver as common as in Jerusalem as stones, and he made cedars as plenty as the sycamores which were in the low country. And Solomon had horses brought out of Mizraim and Kiram, and the sovereign's merchants brought them in from them in a Kiram at a price, and a chariot came up and went out of Mizraim for 600 pieces of silver, and one horse 150. And so by their hand they brought them out to all the sovereigns of the Hittites and the sovereigns of Aram. The end of 1 Kings chapter 10. Moving on to Psalms 104 on page 704. Bless Yahweh, O my being. O Yahweh, my Elohim, you have been great, very great. You have put on excellency and splendor, covering yourself with light, as with a garment, stretching out the heavens like a curtain, who is laying the beams of his upper rooms in the waters, who is making thick clouds his chariot, who is walking on the wings of the wind, making his messengers the winds, his servants a flame of fire. He established the earth on its foundations so that it would not totter forever. You covered it with the deep as with a garment. The waters stood above the mountains. At your rebuke they flee. At the voice of your thunder they hurry away. They go up the mountains, they go down the valleys, to place which you founded for them. You did set the boundary, they did not pass over. They did not return to cover the earth. Who was sending the springs into the valleys? They flow among the hills. They give drink to every beast of the field. Wild donkeys break their thirst. The birds of the heavens dwell beside them. They sing from between the branches, watering the hills from his upper rooms. The earth is satisfied with the fruit of your works, causing the grass to grow for the cattle, and plants for the service of mankind, to bring forth food from the earth, and wine that makes glad the heart of man, oil to make the face shine, and bread which sustains a man's heart. And trees of Yahweh are satisfied. The trees of Yahweh are satisfied. The cedars of Lebanon which he planted, where the birds do make nests. The stork has her home in the fir trees. The high hills are for wild goats, rocks of refuge for rock badgers. He made the moon for appointed times. The sun knows it's going down. You put darkness, and it is night. And all the beasts of the forest creep. The young lions are roaring for prey and seeking their food from El. The sun arises, they withdraw and lie down in their dens. Man goes out to his work and to his labor till evening. O Yahweh, how many have been your works? You have made all of them in wisdom. The earth is filled with your possessions. There is the sea, great and wide, in which is innumerable swarms, living creatures, small with great. There they do go. That Leviathan which you made to play there, all of them wait for you, to give their food in due season. You give to them, they gather in. You open your hand, they are satisfied with good. You hide your face, they are alarmed. You take away their breath, they die and return to their dust. You send forth your spirit, they are created, and you renew the face of the earth. The esteem of Yahweh is forever. Yahweh rejoices in his works. Who looks on the earth and it trembles? He touches the mountains and they smoke. I sing to Yahweh as long as I live. I sing praises to my Elohim while I exist. My meditation on him is sweet. I rejoice in Yahweh. Let sinners be consumed from the earth. Let the wrong be no more. Bless Yahweh, O my being. Praise Yah. On to Proverbs 14 on page 741. Every wise woman has built her house, but the foolish breaks it down with her hands. He who walks in his straightness fears Yahweh, but he whose ways are crooked despise him. In the mouth of a fool is a rod of pride, but the lips of the wise guard them. Where there are no oxen, the crib is clean, but from the strength of an ox comes much increase. A trustworthy witness does not lie, but a false witness breathes out lies. A scoffer shall seek wisdom, but find none. But knowledge is swift to him who has understanding. Leave the presence of a foolish man, for you shall not perceive the lips of knowledge. The wisdom of the clever is to understand his way, but the folly of fools is deceit. Fools scoff at guilt, but among the straight there is delight. The heart knows its own bitterness, and no stranger shares its joy. The house of the wrong is destroyed, but the tent of the straight flourishes. There is a way which seems right to a man, but its end is the way of death. Even in laughter the heart is in pain, and at the end of that joy is heaviness. The backslider in heart is satisfied with his own ways, but a good man is satisfied from his. The simple believes every word, but the clever one watches his step. The wise fears and turns away from evil, but a fool rushes on and is reckless. He who is impatient acts foolishly, and a man who plans wickedness is hated. The simple shall inherit folly, but the clever are crowned with knowledge. The evil one shall bow before the good, and the wrong ones at the gate of the righteous. The poor is hated even by his own neighbor, but the rich has many friends. He who despises his neighbor sins, but he who shows favor to the poor, oh, blessed is he. Do not those who plan evil go astray, but loving commitment and truth are to those who plan good. And in all labor there is profit, but talks of the lips leads only to poverty. The crown of the wise is their wealth. The folly of fools is folly. A true witness saves lives, but he who breathes out lies is a betrayer. In the fear of Yahweh is strong trust, and his children have a place of refuge. The fear of Yahweh is a fountain of life, to turn away from the snares of death. In a multitude of people is a sovereign splendor, but in the lack of people is the ruin of a prince. He who is patient has great understanding, but he who is short of spirit exalts folly. A healthy heart is life to the body, but envy is rottenness to the bones. He who oppresses the poor reproaches his maker, but he who esteems him shows favor to the needy. By his own evil doing the wrong is thrust down, but the righteous has a refuge in his death. Wisdom rests in the heart of him who has understanding. Even among fools it becomes known. Righteousness exalts a nation, and loving commitment to the people is sin. The sovereign's delight is toward a wise servant, but his wrath is toward him who causes shame. Moving on to John chapter 21, the end of John chapter, the end of the Gospels. John chapter 1, page 1049. 1049. After this, Yeshua manifested himself again to the taught ones at the house, at the ones at the Sea of Kinnereth. And he manifested this way. Simon Peter and Thomas, called the twin, Nathanael of Galilee, the sons of Zebedee, the two others of his taught ones were together, Simon Peter said to them, I am going to fish. They said to him, We are also coming with you. They went out and immediately entered into the boat, and that night they caught none at all. And when it became early morning, Yeshua stood on the beach. However, the taught ones did not know it was Yeshua. Then Yeshua said to them, Children, have you any food? They answered him, No. And he said to them, Throw the net on the right side of the boat, and you shall find. So they threw, and they were no longer able to draw it in because of the large number of fish. That taught one whom Yeshua loved then said to Peter, When you hear that, it's John. It is the Master. Then Simon Peter, hearing that it was the Master, put on his outer garment, for he was stripped, and plunged into the sea. And the other taught ones came into the little boat, for they were not far from land, about 200 cubits, dragging the net with the fish. So they came onto the land. They saw a fire of coals there, and fish laid on it, and bread. And Yeshua said to them, Bring some of the fish which you have caught now. Simon Peter went up and dragged the net to land, filled with 153 big fishes. And though there were so many, the net was not broken. Yeshua said to them, Come, have breakfast. And not one of the taught ones had the courage to ask him, Who are you? Knowing it was the Master. Yeshua came and took the bread and gave it to them, and the same with the fish. Now this was now the third time Yeshua was manifested to his taught ones, after he was raised from the dead. When therefore they had eaten breakfast, Yeshua said to Simon Peter, Simon, son of Jonah, do you love me more than these? He said to him, Yes, Master, you know that I love you. He said to them, Feed my lambs. And he said to him again the second time, Simon, son of Jonah, do you love me? He said to him, Yes, Master, you know that I love you. And he, Yeshua, said to him, Shepherd my sheep. And he said to him a third time, Yeshua said to him a third time, Simon, son of Jonah, do you love me? Peter was sad because he had said the third time, Do you love me? And he said to him, Master, you know all. You know that I love you. Yeshua said to him, Feed my sheep. Truly, truly, I say to you, when you were younger, you girded yourself and walked where you wished. But when you are old, you shall stretch out your hands, and another shall gird you and bring you where you do not wish. Now this he said, signifying by what death he would esteem Elohim. And having said that, he said to him, Follow me. And Peter, Simon Peter, turning around, saw the taught ones whom Yeshua loved following, who also had leaned on his breast at the supper, and said, Master, who is the one who is delivering you up? Seeing him, verse 21, seeing him, Peter said to Yeshua, let's go back to 20. And Peter, turning around, saw the taught one whom Yeshua loved. Verse 20. And Peter, turning around, saw the taught one whom Yeshua loved, following, who also leaned on his breast at the supper, and said, Master, who is the one who was delivering you up? John. Seeing him, Peter said to Yeshua, But Master, what about this one? Yeshua said to him, If I wish him to remain till I come, what is that to you? You follow me. Therefore this word went out among the brothers, that this taught one would not die. However, Yeshua did not say to him that he would not die. But if I desire him to remain until I come, what is that to you? This is the taught one who bears witness about these matters, and wrote these matters. And we know that his witness is true. Now there is much else that Yeshua did. If every one of them were written down, I think that the world itself would not contain the written books. Amen. Shalom. Make it a great day. Read your Bible. Talk to the Father.